This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thanks for joining us for CBN Newswatch. I'm Wendy Griffith. Well, after the mass shootings this past weekend in El Paso and Dayton, Congress is under increasing pressure to address gun violence. One bipartisan proposal that's gaining momentum involves red flag laws. Our Mark Martin joins us now with more on that. Mark?
Wendy, red flag laws allow family members and friends to petition authorities to keep guns out of the hands of people considered a threat to themselves or others, people deemed mentally unstable or high risk. The Washington Times reports Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina and Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut are working on a measure which would give federal grants to states that want to enact red flag laws.
We have to empower people to get help for family or loved ones who may be a danger to themselves or a danger to others.
These 15 states and the District of Columbia already have such laws in place. President Donald Trump has indicated support for a bipartisan bill on red flag laws. As more Republicans take small steps toward those laws, other lawmakers believe they don't go far enough. Political reports that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York warns the GOP that Democrats would try to mandate that any red flag measure on the Senate floor would have to be accompanied by a vote on legislation that puts into effect universal background checks. The Democratic House passed that earlier this year. Schumer said in his statement that the notion that passing a tepid version of an extreme risk protection order bill alone is even close to getting the job done in addressing rampant gun violence in the U.S. is wrong and would be an ineffective cop-out. Democrats in the Senate will seek to require that any ERPO bill that comes to the floor is accompanied by a vote on the House-passed universal background checks legislation. President Donald Trump agrees more needs to be done when it comes to background checks.
Well, I'm looking to do background checks. I think background checks are important. I don't want to put guns into the hands of mentally unstable people or people with rage or hate, sick people. I don't want to, I'm all in favor of it.
Meanwhile, back to red flag laws, some conservatives are upset about those measures. They're concerned about due process and if they'll infringe on gun owners' rights. The Washington Times reports that the president of Americans for Limited Government is against Trump's support for red flag laws because he says it will lead to Democrats enacting more gun control laws. Wendy, back to you.
Thanks so much, Mark. Well, since 2017, one group has focused on honoring victims of mass shootings by performing random acts of kindness. The Honor Network was started after 58 people were brutally killed in the nation's deadliest shooting in Las Vegas. The network travels the country in an effort to spread love in the name of those shooting victims. The group encourages people to pay it forward in hopes that simple acts of kindness will make a difference while honoring those whose lives have been cut short. Tommy Mayer of the Honor Network joins us now via Skype. Tommy, thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
First of all, Tommy, what was your reaction when you learned of these latest shootings in El Paso and Dayton?
Well, of course, it's very heartbreaking, and you just kind of wonder to yourself, when is this all going to stop?
Tell us about the mission of the Honor Network and what you hope to do to honor victims of these latest mass shootings.
Well, the whole concept is to wait a couple of months, come into the town where they had this tragedy, and we try to spread kindness around in honor of the victims. It's kind of like coming into the town and giving the whole town a really big hug. Go ahead.
Oh, well, what's the feedback, and what are some of these actual ways that you do these acts of kindness?
Well, there's many different ways, and the feedback has been nothing but really great feedback by the people in all these towns. They're very appreciative of it, and it's all about lifting people up, and anywhere from going to a coffee shop and leaving money at the register for everyone behind us, to this last stop in Virginia Beach. We bought passes for 12 people to go into a water park.
Tommy, you must be from New York, by the way. You said coffee. Well, listen, you were recently, as you mentioned, you were recently here in Virginia Beach where we had that horrible mass shooting, 13 people killed. Tell us about your time here and what your group did here.
Well, we went around the town, honored all 12 people that were killed on that day. And we also stopped by the police department, firehouse, and the 911 switchboard operators to thank them for all they did on that day. We bought them all lunch and in honor of the 12 people. But yeah, we just went around the whole town, stopped at various places, just spreading some kindness in remembrance of those people and also in honor of them.
How many people usually travel in your network to these different cities?
Well, it varies depending on everyone's availability. Right now, there's really only about 4 of us that travel. Sometimes I'm by myself, but generally it's usually at least 2 of us.
You hope that these random acts of kindness, whether buying someone a cup of coffee, a lunch, giving them a hug, how do you hope these will impact the nation, Tommy?
Well, I think that it's really just the message is just telling people don't wait for the tragedy, to be nice to each other. Two of the greatest, most powerful acts of kindness are understanding and forgiveness. And we could do that without having to buy anybody anything. But so it's pretty simple. It's really not that complicated.
And lastly, what motivated you to first do this, to start traveling and to start this network, Honor Network?
Well, this goes all the way back to September 11th, which will be 18 years this September. We lost a guy in my firehouse, fellow firefighter and a good friend of mine, Joe Hunter. And also I was down in the recovery efforts and, being down there and everyone coming from all around the world just to help us really had an impact on me. And I knew that one day I would do something to pretty much pay it back, and return the favor. So I came up with this idea when I started, it was almost about 2 years ago. So about 16 years after 9/11, I came up with this idea to travel around and just, try to spread some kindness.
Well, it's a beautiful thing, and you never know when that one hug can change somebody's life. Tommy, thank you so much, and God bless you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll have more on this story and others on Faith Nation this evening. You can watch it right here on the CBN News Channel. Wednesday, the U.S. issued a warning to commercial ships in the Persian Gulf to be wary of GPS interference in at least 2 incidents, including Iran's recent seizure of a British-flagged vessel. Ships reported interference with their GPS systems. One U.S. defense official told CNN Iran has put GPS jamming equipment on an island near the Strait of Hormuz. The purpose, to mislead ships and planes into mistakenly entering Iranian airspace or waters so they can be shot down or seized. Other ships have reported fake messages from unknown sources claiming to be U.S. or coalition vessels. Also in the Middle East, Iran is teaming up with Russia in the Persian Gulf, rolling out its newest weapons and threatening the mother of all wars. Chris Mitchell reports.
Fray in these key waterways.
We know by the Iranian media
We've been helping them for about 82 years.
That's not going to work. But the people,
in order to fulfill its strategic aim of having expanded military forces in the Persian Gulf. So the Iranian Navy revealed that it's going to be a mutual drill between Moscow and Tehran in the Persian Gulf.
Down under in Australia, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is making his case for the West to unite in protecting shipping from Iranian aggression.
So what we've asked 60-plus nations to do is provide assistance in securing and deterring from and securing the Strait of Hormuz so that commercial vessels can travel through there.
But Mansharov says Russia's presence will embolden the Islamic Republic.
The more that Iran feels secured, it is encouraged to keep challenging the U.S. and the Europeans in this strategic location of the Hormuz Strait, and you can assume that Iran would continue to seize oil vessels of the U.S. and the Western countries in this region.
And complicating the U.S.-Russia relationship, U.S. Ambassador John Huntsman says he'll be stepping down. In his resignation letter, he urged President Trump to stand up to Putin. He said, going forward, we must continue to hold Russia accountable when its behavior threatens us and our allies. Meanwhile, an attack against 2 Iranian-backed militia bases operating inside Iraq. Most suspect Israel, which, if true, would be its first strike inside Iraq since Israeli planes knocked out a nuclear reactor in 1981.
The reason this is happening is because there's been a very deeply felt concern in the Israeli security establishment in recent months at the prospect of the Iranians placing short-range ballistic missiles in the hands of their Iraqi Shia militia clients, who would then deploy those missiles in western Iraq and thus have Israel within range of those missiles for the first time.
Spire and Mansurov say Iran leaders play a dangerous game of flexing their muscles while keeping an eye on the U.S. political calendar. They maintain that Iran wants Trump to lose so they can deal with a more pliable White House. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up, President Trump has been slammed as a racist by Democrats and liberal critics. We'll hear from Alveda King, the niece of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and her view of whether President Trump deserves to be called a racist. And before we go to the break, here's a look at what's trending on CBNNews.com.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
Here, we're committed to a heritage of rigorous scholarship dating back over 1,000 years.
And to a faith tradition dating back 1,000 more.
This is how we create a culture of inquiry where no topic is off limits.
And a culture of hope.
Anything's possible!
It's Christian leadership.
And it's changing the world for the better.
It's higher learning.
It's greater knowing.
It's what makes us whole.
It's what makes us regent.
Former Vice President Joe Biden says President Trump is fanning the flames of white supremacy. And another Democratic presidential candidate, Beto O'Rourke, says Trump's a racist. But those who know the president well are coming to his defense. Evangelist Alveda King, the niece of the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, says Trump is not a racist. On this week's episode of The Global Lane, Ms. King explains why she believes the president is actually helping African Americans and discusses what she believes needs to be done to bring the nation together.
We have so much turmoil in the country There are random acts of violence just exploding. And we want to say that we are praying. When I say we, over at civilrightsfortheunborn.org, are praying for those who've experienced losses. And there's a stirring about racism with a misunderstanding, with people feeling as though we are separate races. We're not colorblind. We can see. Jesus gives sight to the blind. Over in the book of Colossians, it says, pray with me with your eyes wide open. If my eyes are open, I can see. Now, as to the issues of racism and calling the president a racist and playing the race card, this race has to be justified and get reparations, and this race needs to do this, and this race needs to do that. Well, certainly, even with reparations, if the government pays reparations with tax dollars, and I'm African American and I'm asking for reparations, you take my tax money and pay me reparations. That's not going to work. But the people that did the oppressing at the time of slavery and Jim Crow, and when you were young, when in the 1960s, and you participated in civil rights, all of those folks, well, there were people at the same time, organizations that started, and they were getting money because of oppression, because of mistreating people, because of slavery, because of genocide, because of eugenics. And those big organizations have billions of dollars now. You put them all together, they have trillions of dollars. They still exist. That's who needs to help take the money that they have used to harm America and help to heal America. President Trump understands this. He's not a racist. He's not colorblind. He said we all bleed the same. He gets it. He could see it. So he doesn't see us by skin color as separate people. He sees ethnicity. He responds to ethnicity, and that's okay, but he's not a racist. The race card makes people mad. It stirs them up. You're a racist. You're a racist. Oh, no, we are one blood. Acts 17:26.
So what do you think about race being used as an issue by candidates in the upcoming 2020 campaign season?
Well, when you have a genuine platform and you can prove that you're making America better, making America great, and you want to keep America great, such as bringing the steel mills back and jobs back to America, such as defending the unborn in the womb and doing everything you can to protect the unborn, reuniting families of returning citizens from prison, bringing them back into the community with jobs in the opportunity zones, small business administration, historically Black colleges and universities getting money. All of this is out of the Trump administration, under the leadership of President Donald John Trump, making a park for an African-American man, Martin Luther King Jr., signing that order, religious freedom. Okay, so you've got a real platform and you're doing things for America. Now, if you have a platform that still votes for aborting babies, if the baby is born alive, you just make it comfortable, let it die because you meant to abort it, and that kind of thing. Or you don't know what to do with people who want to come to this country for help, so you open all your borders and make no requirements with no support for them coming in and getting brought into a country and learning to love the country. If that's all you can do, then what else can you do but yell racism?
And how do you think your father and Uncle Martin would respond to all of this if they were alive today?
And my dad, Reverend Alfred Daniel Williams King, A.D. King, M.L. King, Daddy King, Martin Luther King Sr. would encourage us to pray, love each other, watch our words, let those words be kind, and listen and speak and act together as brothers and sisters. We can actually do that. And, you know, there, like I said, you've got random acts of kindness and random acts of violence and evil. Now, the media, for some reason, much of the media will only publish the bad news. They won't publish the good news. And so we have to look for that good news, and then we have to be the good news. And we can do that.
Wow, so refreshing to have the voice of common sense. And you can hear more from Alveda King on The Global Lane. It's on the CBN News Channel tonight at 9:30 Eastern. You can hear more. Also, her discussion about how Christians could be indirectly supporting abortion through their investments. Again, tonight on The Global Lane, starting at 9:30 Eastern on the CBN News Channel. Coming up, how one sheriff's department is exploring ways to protect students from school shootings.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com. Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new MyCBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new MyCBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile. Grow, connect, have fun. The all-new MyCBN app.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs, from health to entertainment, you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place, from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Check your local listings or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crab Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel, now available at cbnradio.com.
I am Regent's first ROTC graduate student.
And welcome back. Well, from adding shelters to arming teachers to bulletproof book bags, communities are exploring ways to protect students from school shootings. One sheriff's department has taken matters into their own hands with a futuristic training tool. Amber Strong has that story.
The adrenaline is pumping.
Where's he at? Where's he at?
The guns are real.
Drop the gun!
But this isn't the latest school shooting.
I got officer down, officer down.
It's an active shooter simulator at the Stafford County Sheriff's Department in Virginia. While Washington grapples with the aftermath of the latest school shooting, local police departments have taken matters into their own hands.
So let's talk about action versus reaction.
13-year veteran First Sergeant Joe Bice helps lead the training.
The guy has a gun. Could you identify him from inside? Because that's the same guy that was in the theater.
Dispatch, we got one ran outside. One ran outside. I thought when the one person inside the theater ran out, I thought he was wearing a white shirt.
Once inside the simulator, officers like Deputy Dominic Torres
Let me see your hands!
face 100 different scenarios with numerous outcomes. Sometimes it's a school.
Dispatch, I'm in the library.
Other times, a movie theater.
Make sure you give him commands.
Let me see your hands! Let me see your hands!
Surrounded by sounds and pictures, a vibrating floor, and real guns filled with CO2.
We don't have unlimited bullets in real life. If they shoot 18 rounds, if they try to shoot it anymore, they'll just hear a click.
It's as close to the real thing as it gets.
It's intense. You know, so 2 times in a row I did it, and my blood's still pumping. I'm starting to sweat a little bit. And, you know, it's good training.
Drop the gun!
That emotion is good. Bice hopes the program prepares officers for the worst.
I've seen people shot before. It's intense, and then you know, add in children. You know, that's a lot of extra stress on the deputy or the officer that's involved that they're going to have to deal with.
He also hopes it teaches them how to make tough decisions, like when to avoid lethal force.
Stop! Get on your belly!
They eventually want civilians to give it a try. So I did. Although nothing compares to real-life experience, Bice says he feels better knowing his deputies are arriving to the scene with this kind of preparation.
Dispatcher got shots fired. Shots fired.
And the cost to taxpayers? Not a cent, as this was all covered by money seized from illegal drug operations. Amber Strong, CBN News in Stafford County, Virginia.
Thanks, Amber. Up next, a young football fan meets his hero. Why he says the star player inspired him.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News.
A young Philadelphia Eagles football fan got to meet his hero, and the heartwarming moment has gone viral. 11-year-old Giovanni Hamilton met Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz during his time attending the team's training camp. Hamilton suffers from a genetic disorder, Schwartz-Jampel syndrome. He's had 12 surgeries and says he was inspired by Wentz to keep pushing through after Wentz was able to come back from knee and back surgery. The young football fan said, quote, "If he can do that and be strong, I'm going to do that too." Good for him, and God bless him. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of NewsWatch. You can find more on the issues you care about most at CBNNews.com. You can also watch CBN News programs anytime on our CBN News channel. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. Just email us at newswatch@cbn.com or reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We hope you'll join us next time. Until then, from all of us here, goodbye. And as always, God bless you.